right. All right. I think we're live. Let's see. All right. We are live. It has been a little bit. It has. But we've got some cool stuff to work on. So it's been a while. School's been a lot. So I've not streamed a whole lot as of recent. But I finally got a little bit of time today. Probably won't be the longest stream, but I've gotten one major change done since last time I streamed. And I will talk about that once more people start watching. But basically, today we're going to work on two things. So the first thing is I want to streamline, oh my god, caps lock, streamline Blender exporting. And then we might stylize aircraft and shader work. And then finally, if we get the chance, and this is a big if, we might do scene file loading, because right now scenes are just defined in a CPP file. So yeah, let's get after that. So the first thing we're gonna need to do is I'm gonna walk through what the current export process looks like. So this is the aircraft in Blender, and whenever I want to export this thing, what I have to do, so firstly, like, this aircraft has a bunch of different materials applied to it. And what I do is I bake all these materials to an albedo texture, an emission texture, and a roughness texture. Now, in the future, I think I might do an ambient occlusion texture, some sort of stylized shading texture, and then obviously the albedo texture still, which is good. But that's the art pipeline. But the problem is whenever I want to export it, what I have to do is I have to save a copy, which I just call DemoJet E. And then I have to open DemoJet E. And then on DemoJet E, I have to apply this singular master material to it, and then I can export it. And the reason for this whole process is simple. My engine does not support multiple material exports yet. That's what we're going to work on today. Today we're going to work on refining the export system. But to do that, the first thing we're going to have to do is see what the default... Now this whole idea was stemmed from, actually yesterday, I did some work to the jet, and something that happened was I accidentally exported it without using the pipeline. I wasn't thinking straight, and I exported it just with all the random materials applied, and I looked at the file format, the GLTF file that was generated, because I couldn't figure out what I did wrong, and it looked legible. I looked at it and was like, I think I could actually parse this in a meaningful way. So we're gonna export it as the not accepted file format, which is this. And now what should happen is only the meshes only the meshes that have that initial material applied will be visible. All of the other meshes won't be, and that is because GLTF files, when you export a multi-material mesh, they get exported as different meshes, I believe. Yeah, nodes 10. Let's look at the differences. Let's look at the diff. Yeah, okay. So first thing, extension used. We don't need to worry about the extension, but this is new. Double-sided equals true. Name base. These are all the material. Oh, these are material parameters. We could parse the material. That's something we could do, but I think I want to stick with the textures, honestly. And then the next thing that happens is attributes. Attributes. Sampler, image textures. Yeah, the images are the same, except, interesting. Whole lot of new stuff being exported here. Inverse bind matrices, joints. Okay, so it's a bunch of separate meshes. Well, do I really want to do this? Let's see. buffer count, because now it's going to be importing multiple meshes and then treating them as one mesh. Okay, that's something to maybe do later. Hate to put a damper on that, but actually, I may be chickening out on this one because that is too much of a detour. I'd like this to look better, but not that much better. Like I don't have time to rewrite all of that. Yeah, but this is what things look like now. So the big change that I did in the off season, okay, the past 2 weeks, and I implemented this change literally just like in a lecture. Yeah, another stream. I try to keep it consistent. I've been gone for a little bit. School's been exhausting. Doing well, thank you. Yeah, sorry I haven't really been doing much. I've been honestly just studying a lot. But there's one big change I made. And it's visually you can't notice a difference, but it's a big change under the hood. The clouds. The way that the clouds work is completely different now. And the result is, I believe, what was it? I think it's a 5 times increase in frame rate, especially on low-end hardware. And basically what I did was the clouds, so they're volumetric clouds. I think I've explained how they're just Raymarch volumetric clouds. They're not something revolutionary. They're not the best Raymarch volumetric clouds, but they're good enough to, I mean, if this was on a library computer or in a browser window, this would be fine. Thank you, yeah. But basically, what I changed was this. So the way the clouds used to work, the way the clouds worked back in the not good old days was we basically this noise function. If I go, I guess I could pull up the old, anyway, this noise function. I used to have a noise function in the fragment shader. Because the way volumetric clouds work is you march a ray through a volume and then you sample the density at that specific point in the volume. And then that determines, where you are in the cloud, how dense the cloud is at that point. And you do a bunch of lighting calculations based on that. But how do you figure out that density? Well, you have to use noise. That's what makes them look kind of fluffy and cloud-like. You sample it and you use random noise. Now that random noise was being generated on the GPU through a noise function. It was just a generic noise function I found online. I think I gave credit to whoever I got it from in the file. I can't remember. If not, sorry, it's no longer using that. What it now uses is just a 3D pre-computed noise texture. I have a 3D noise texture here. This is, obviously it's stored as 2D, but this is a 3D texture. It's 64 by 64 by 64. And instead of having some sort of noise function, whenever I want to sample random noise, I just sample that 3D texture. And that resulted in massive performance gains, but it did require a pretty, I wouldn't say substantial, because I did write this whole thing, like this whole rework took 1 or 2 lectures, essentially, is when the only time I had a chance to work on this project was during a lecture. But I was able to get it done in around 2 of those. So it wasn't a huge rewrite, but it was not, I wouldn't say it was trivial. There were a couple bugs that took a little bit of debugging. But the thing about this game is, like, it looks fine right now. It looks okay. I mean, for a browser game, this looks pretty good. But I'm still not satisfied with it. Particularly, I'm not satisfied with, I don't know what this is supposed to be. Like, is this style? Hey, man, I want to try to link through your graphic a real-time rendering book. The initial chapters don't feel beginner-friendly. Do you have any suggestions? Learning from a book. I guess, firstly, what's your experience with programming? That would be a better question. Like, are you somewhat experienced with... Are you learning programming and computer graphics, or do you already know some programming, maybe a language or two, and you're now trying to go into the field of computer graphics? That would be a good question. And while I'm waiting on that response, I'll go back to what I was talking about here. But long story short, I don't really know. Like the way the lighting is calculated in this game. 4th semester CSE undergrad, C++C. Oh yeah, you're okay. So that's academically where I am. Granted, I've been doing this for a lot longer than that, but I'm in my 4th semester undergrad. Word of warning: your lectures and your classes that taught you C and C++ have not even taught you close to enough to learn. Probably, like, if you go in and learn computer graphics in OpenGL, you're gonna realize just how little your undergrad experience actually teaches you, especially in terms of like low-level computer science. That's not to say you can't do it. You absolutely can. But there's a lot more that they don't teach you that you probably won't even be aware of until you try to learn this. But that being said, my advice, learning from a book is hard to do with computer graphics, at least I think. I think the way that you should learn computer graphics is through projects. Specifically, I would learn OpenGL. This would be my go-to. If you want to get really just start off with computer graphics, I would start with OpenGL, and I would learn the fundamental things like how to draw a triangle to the screen, what shaders are, how shaders work. From there, you can get to the more advanced stuff, like all of this, step stencil, frame buffers, cube maps. But walk through this website. You don't have to do all of it. I haven't done even close to all of it. But do what you think you need to learn to do. Like loading meshes from Assemp is important. Yeah, do this. I'm also learning graph spraying. Yeah, it's honestly one of the most fun. I think the most fun fields of computer graphics, of computer science. I think it's very, very, very interesting. And it's nice because computer graphics, I often, this is probably going to be like the most controversial thing to say. I feel like making video games is not a very fulfilling like use of engineering in my not personal opinion, because at the end of the day, it's not about like a fulfilling thing or not. I mean, if you like making video games, go make video games. But at least for me, I feel like if I went into game dev for a career, I wouldn't be very satisfied with that. Like I wouldn't feel like I'm really contributing to something. But the nice part about computer graphics, they're used in so many fields that are like crucial. Defense. Computer graphics is important for defense. Computer graphics is important for CGI. Computer graphics is important for anything that has simulation involved. I mean, there's so many things you can do with it, and it's kind of niche. There's not a whole lot of, it's not like web dev where you're fighting with everyone for an internship. Now it's still hard, but besides OpenGL and WebGL Graph, have you tried code other platforms solving questions? I don't solve questions with graphics programming. Let's see. Have I tried? Have I tried LeetCode or other platforms for solving questions? Yeah. I mean, everyone has to do the LeetCode grind if you want to get an internship. I had a prospective internship, still have maybe a prospective internship, but the internship grind has not gone very well for me, full transparency. But when I was in the heat of like, I might get an interview, I was spending out a ton of applications, yeah, I was doing the LeetCode grind. Now granted, it was kind of a short burst. I need to be more consistent. But right now, my main priority is building up a project resume. Because at the end of the day, if I sit here and grind LeetCode, my technical expertise is going to go to a standstill. And, you know, if we're all really screwed because of AI, if we're all never going to get a job and AI is going to take all our jobs, whatever, then ultimately, the most damage I can do is not only not get a job, but also not learn anything new about computer graphics. Like if I spent all my time stressing over LeetCode just to not get an internship or a job, and I could have spent that time doing something that actually made me a cracked developer, even if I don't get hired for it. I mean, best case, this whole bubble bursts and I've learned a ton in the off season. Or worst case, no one has computer science work, but I know a ton and I can now do this hobby 10 times better than I could previously. But yeah, long-winded way of saying, do projects. I wouldn't learn from a book, but there's the Game Engine Cookbook. That's a go-to, I've heard. I haven't read it myself. But the big complaint I have about my project right now is I don't know how did you motivate the other graph programming natively using Game Engine? I used Game Engines for a very long time, and it really boiled down to I like making games, but the game part is boring to me. Like I never want to study game design. The art side of things is kind of boring to me as well, though I think ILM, I think visual effects are super cool, but like game art, game design, game theory, that's not very interesting to me. I like the tech, I like systems, I like engineering. I mean, I'm much more of an engineer than a game developer. So using a game engine felt like it honestly just took away all the best parts of making games or simulations or projects. Like I want to worry about the low level stuff. Now, if I have a really great game idea and I really think it's financially viable and I really need to get an MVP out, yeah, I'll maybe use an engine again one day. I'm not opposed to it, but I have a more fun time stressing over the minute details of how my engine works than the actual game and balancing things and tuning things and making it feel good. This game's based on OpenGL, but it's compiled for the web. So basically, I'm using a tool called Emscripten. It takes my C++ code, compiles it to WebAssembly, and I have to use OpenGL ES because that then gets translated to WebGL. So effectively it's WebGL, but I'm not writing WebGL. I'm writing OpenGL ES in C++. For my next projects, I want to use Rust and WebGPU. That is going to be probably my next project. Either that or Vulkan. But we'll see. Still kind of up for debate. But basically, I want to get this, I want to stylize this project. I want it to look a little better. I mean, the lighting is not exactly realistic. This isn't exactly stylized, but it's not exactly like good either. I don't know. I'm just not very happy specifically with how the aircraft looks. So I would like to do, I came across an X post the other day. Let me pull it up off screen because I don't want everyone seeing my X login. But I came across this really cool X post the other day, and it made me think, oh, I wonder if I could apply this to my project. It is by, here's the post. Steli Inc. Where was it? Oh gosh, I lost it. Let me go back. Okay, here's a post. Okay, albedo map, baked ambient occlusion, custom ambient lighting, and you get that stylized shading. I can have this in my engine. There's nothing stopping me from doing this. The only thing I don't have is ambient occlusion and the baked ambient. So what I might do, that might be what I start working on, at least briefly for today. The other thing that I realized with this engine is right now the way scenes, yeah, you can do Vulkan before OpenGL. I mean, it's probably going to be a little harder. It's going to be a little bit harder. Resources, Vulkan has their own equivalent of Learn OpenGL. I mean, there's what? Vulkan tutorial. What is it? Yeah, there's this. This isn't it. What was it? I used this when I did my Vulkan triangle. I wouldn't say it's as beginner friendly as the Learn OpenGL thing, but this is Vulkan tutorial. It'll get you to, I mean, it's got loading models. It's got a lot of the bare bones stuff. That would be my suggestion. But another thing I want to do with this engine is I want a level editor in the future. And to have a level editor means scenes have to have, there have to be scenes, scene files. Currently there's not. Currently there is no scene file system. Scenes are hard-coded into this. This is a scene. No, sorry. Yeah, this is a scene. This is how I create the UI for a scene. And while this is okay for UI, in my opinion, because UI is not something I plan to be customizable, like the test scene, this is how I actually instantiate objects. Like, we create a new scene. This is a scene builder, a static method that returns a scene. We manually add these entities to the scene. And then we have to add parameters for this. So one of my thoughts is, why not have a file that we can write, like maybe just a JSON file, and then we parse the JSON file and populate the scene accordingly. Now the problem with doing that I've come across is C++ doesn't have, reflection isn't the term. It's not aware of a class. Let me explain it this way. If you've ever written Godot code, there's like, if I have a class player, I think this is Godot. Like, let's just say there's this, and then I have a func move, and then I have, what is it? And then I also, maybe I have like an export variable var health 1.0. All right, let's say this is my Godot class. Now in Godot, outside of this, I can let's say I have a player object. All right. I think this is Godot, how you do that. I'm not sure. But if I had that, Godot can let me do something like this. If player.has method move. And then I can say move. I can manually check if an object has certain properties in Godot. The language is aware of these things. There's a term for it, but C++ does not have that feature. I can't say, does this object contain this method? Like, has member. That's another thing. Like, I can say, does this object contain a member for health? And that makes things really easy, because then I could write a JSON file that just, like, I can check if the content in a JSON file maps properly to an object we have in the scene. But C++ doesn't really allow for that. So you have to, like, do these workarounds to do so. And it's tricky. It's definitely tricky. So I need to do that at some point. But again, the roadmap, which actually has been updated a little bit. What was it? Trello. It's actually public. Anyone can view the public roadmap. There's a couple things. So for one, yeah, retexture, fix that. That's done. Clouds. I optimized the clouds. They're definitely good enough for now. I'd like to have some more UI features. This is what I was hoping to do today. This is tricky. So I did start working on some multiplayer. If you notice, there is a network manager class in here. And here's the problem. Because I have a desktop version of this project and a web version of this project, and they both have to talk to the same server, the problem arises where the browser does not use UDP. You can't use, like, I use eNet. It's a very easy to use C++ library that lets you write. I mean, this is pretty much straight from the eNet, like, tutorial. But when I compile it for web, though this does compile, it works, it will not, I get an error in the browser console window because eNet uses UDP, and essentially the transport protocol that eNet uses is not something the browser supports. The browser supports. So I have to use WebSockets, which means I have two options. I can rewrite everything to use WebSockets, including the desktop version. Now here's the problem. Desktops, apps using WebSockets, it's doable, but there's some really obscure C++ libraries that don't seem to have a lot of documentation on how to do it. Or what I can do, I can have the desktop version use eNet, the web version can use WebSockets, and then I can have this like the server can directly connect to desktop build. That's fine. Now the server is also running eNet, and it can't communicate with the web browser build. So what I can do is I can have another, like a proxy server that can connect. It's like maybe a Node.js proxy server that connects to my web builds. And then any traffic coming from the web build comes to that proxy server. The proxy server accepts a WebSocket connection and then converts it to a UDP format and then sends it to the main game server. Does that lead to some latency issues? I don't know, but I think it probably will, because also WebSockets use TCP, which is already slower than UDP. So the desktop's using UDP, the web build's using TCP. Web build will be much more reliable, but slower. Desktop build will be using UDP, less reliable, but faster. Now, we aren't passing that much data, so there's a chance that we don't actually even have to worry about that because it's just such a simple game. But there is a chance that we do have to worry about it. So I haven't decided on the network architecture yet, but it's gonna have to happen. I'm gonna have to go in and architect it properly. But yeah, there's no but. Now, as for the aircraft, I think I would like to get some ambient occlusion working here. So how to bake AO in Blender. I actually have never done any ambient occlusion baking in Blender. Ensure your object, I have the UVs, shader setup, image texture. Oh yeah, we just baked the ambient occlusion. Okay. I'll just have this to the other side. Shading, we'll just make a new texture. I know how to do that. I have to say, I'm not the biggest fan of how Blender does its like texture baking. I'd like to maybe use like Armor Paint at some point, or something that's actually meant for texturing. Let's see. Image texture. New. What would this? AO. Yeah. And then we will go here to the AO texture, shield. I think that should be good. All right. So we have our ambient occlusion, and we will go. So that's base. We have that there. Afterburner doesn't really have any ambient occlusion, but we will still, no, we won't bake it on there. Secondary, image texture, ambient occlusion, tertiary, image texture, ambient occlusion, and then what else do we have? Secondary, tertiary, visor. We don't have image texture, ambient occlusion. So base has it, visor has it, afterburner doesn't need it, trail doesn't need it either, because it shouldn't receive it. Secondary and tertiary have it, and then we'll just go to bake, ambient occlusion, and then let's go look here and see what the result is. Not what I was, oh, okay. That works. And maybe that improves some things. I would like to see if I could really crank up the ambient occlusion though. Maybe that's something I'm able to do. Well, let's first just export this. So, oh gosh, we have to, once again, the other thing we have to do is now go to this material and link in our ambient occlusion. Let's see, would this roughness metallic, I think we would just multiply it. No, bad. What is it? There's a way in Blender to do this. I'm not a Blender artist. How to use ambient occlusion texture in Blender, right? Multiply with your color texture in the shader editor. Oh, so it really is just multiply. Okay, I can multiply color, boom. And then we should be able to save copy, DemoJet E, save a copy, open DemoJet E. Oh shoot, we didn't save the images. So now we have to go back to demo. This is why I wish I had a way to quickly add the feature that I was talking about. DemoJet E, and then we'll go edit mode, all, material, assign. Oh, great. It does not actually do, is this the albedo texture? Oh no. The albedo got screwed up. See, this is why I don't like doing artwork. This is why, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily pay someone to do it. At the same time, I wouldn't be upset if I didn't have to do it. I'm not the biggest fan of the art pipeline. Oh, that's what it was. The trailhead. Yeah, great. I see what my issue was. And now we have to rebake the diffuse. Please work. Please work. Yep, there we go. Now diffuse is baked. Gosh darn it. And I think we could, now we have to save this, right? What? File, image, save, there, back, file, export, not export. Save a copy, DemoJet E, save a copy, file, open, DemoJet E. I feel like I'm losing my mind. All right. And then material, assign. There we go. We have our ambient occlusion. Actually, that doesn't look bad. That looks really kind of good. At least it looks better. DemoJet, GLTF, separate data, mesh. Oh, it saved all of our export settings. Probably. All right, there we go. So now if we go back here, okay. So back in gameplay, we should have our new texture. Yep, AO.png, perfect. And albedo is still the same thing. And the aircraft has a manual, it handles its own assets. We have a texture somewhere in here. Doesn't it? Let's see, we bind this somewhere. Let's see, texture. It's in CDP, texture. Yeah, bind texture slot, shader, skeletal mesh, texture map. Oh yeah. I actually do like how I handled this in the loader. So skeletal meshes actually contain their own stuff. But that being said, it's also because the aircraft contains let's see, resource path. We should actually be able to just... Sometimes I forget the systems I architect, all right? It's just what happens. Skeleton, cache, global bone transform, that's not it. What? I'm trying to remember this. Skeletal mesh dot texture map. What type is skeletal mesh? Is skeletal mesh actually skeletal mesh? It is. Skeletal mesh dot texture. Oh, it's probably just a part of this. Ah, string texture, and then when we load it, well, that's what it was. Texture map. Yeah, that's what we do. Is there... Ooh, please tell me we take care of that on the delete. Oh, we might not be deleting all the textures when we were... Oh, that's not good. Let's see. Delete mesh. Please tell me we're doing that. And we're not. All right, that's important. So for std pair, what is it? What was that? There's a way we can iterate. We'll just say auto. For auto pair mesh dot texture map. We need to delete texture pair dot second. And this is all done at compile time, so we shouldn't have any problems on that front. That's not good. Every time we've loaded that thing into memory, it's remained there. Great. Windows is a horrible thing sometimes. My app gets temporarily blocked by my own operating system, and then I have to wait for a second. Let's see if the web build is broken by this. What a stupid... It's fine. I don't... Whatever. It is what it is, as they say. Do we actually need an emission texture? That's another thing to think about. Like, we don't have bloom or emission in this engine. I mean, I guess that's just a way to disable shadows, essentially, on certain parts of the mesh, which I guess is important. Yeah, we linked the... Let's see if this now works. Yeah, desktop still is temporarily blocked. Does it? Okay. We're going to remove that offline. Okay. Okay, something's wrong with our export. Part of our export worked, part of it didn't. That's not the fault of anything besides me. Yeah, let's see. Object all material assign. Let me re-export this. Run web. Let's see if this works on the desktop now. Oh my gosh, dude. An application control policy has blocked this file. Blah, 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 blah. Whatever, dude. I know. I can code without seeing what the result is. As long as it compiles, I know it works, you know? We're going to need an ambient occlusion texture. Ambient occlusion texture. AO. Do a Discord. No, I don't. Because that would be too much responsibility to manage. And also, I can't promise that this is going to be there's going to be consistent updates enough to warrant making something like that. But maybe one day, once I have more time to dedicate, if that makes sense. Let's see. Ambient occlusion. I'll make one if I ever start playtesting this. Like if this, because you know, there's always the chance this project doesn't finish. There's always that chance. I mean, something that I've been realizing is I've spent a lot of time on this project and I'm learning a lot, but I feel like my learning has plateaued and now we're reaching stuff that I already know how to do. And ultimately this is a learning project. So I'm going to try to finish this, but you know, if we reach the point where I actually start playtesting this, then this will be great, you know? Ah, that's what it is. And then texture. Then I might actually make some sort of community thing. Now that should let us... It's going to block it. Oh, it didn't block it. See? Okay, does ambient... We now have ambient occlusion. Our mesh is still completely broken. And the ambient occlusion is as if the... Oh, it's because... Oh, that's so stupid. Is right. Now, actually, the ambient occlusion does look kind of... Problem is this thing moves. We don't have real-time ambient occlusion going on. We should probably undo this. Whatever, man. Whatever. It could also be the fact that our shader isn't simple anymore. That could be causing things to break. It's entirely possible. We don't need an ambient occlusion. We'll remove this. And then in the aircraft shader, we'll remove that. Let's see. And then, so do we implement? I don't have any post-processing effects implemented. That's another thing. So it's tricky to like. Interesting. So the normals are probably what's messed up here. Because, yeah, it's probably the normals. It's definitely the normals. So if we flip the normals, that should solve our issue. Let's see, mesh, normals, recalculate outside, export GLTF, meshes. It's gonna give us the ambient occlusion texture again. It is what it is. Yikes. Well, maybe it's maybe it's just flip. Mesh, normals, flip, export GLTF, save. There's some changes. What? Blender stopped working. That's not good. It could be something with this. What changed? Did something change with the file? Let's see. Let's revert the DemoJet stuff. Could it also... Oh, it could be that the... Oh, I see. I see exactly what's wrong, and this is why my export system is just so freaking busted. Look, we didn't bake any color into... Gosh darn it. Tail, trail, visor, tertiary. We need to bake that there. Secondary, base, afterburner, trail. Yeah, now we bake diffuse. Oh no. And now we should get those extra things that we were missing. Yep. Gosh darn it. That's upsetting. Well, wait a minute. Something's still wrong here. Something is still not right. What material does this use? Why are there two material... What? Hold on. Okay. Trail. Does it tell me what... That's using base. That's using... that's using material. We can't be doing that. This should be like tertiary or something. Wait a minute. Oh no. There we go. Tertiary. Assign. Okay, there we go. That should fix our... The other problem I'm running into is it looks like these right here are using... They should be using secondary. Yeah, assign. Okay, I think we fixed our little mix up here. That should fix everything, hopefully. No valid object selected. What are you talking about? Bake. And then this should rebake our textures. Yeah, that fixed everything. And then save a copy. Gosh darn. One day if I accidentally save a copy to the wrong place, that's gonna end really bad. And then we we go here and we say material assign. Now, we shouldn't be using an ambient occlusion, although that would look so good if it just stayed still. We'll have to do like real-time ambient occlusion, I'm betting. I'd rather not, but it's what's probably going to have to be done. But yeah, that being said, we should have this now. Yeah, that fixed our problem. At least, sort of. The problem is there needs to be some sort of like stylized lighting. Maybe there's some like tune shading we can do. Tune shading, let's see. Tune lighting GLSL. Let's see. Tune shading. I don't want like this level of tune shading, but sort of cell shading. Maybe that would look good on this. Pixel art cell shading. No, I don't want that. Give me some explanations. That's looking good, man. Thanks, I appreciate it, but it could look better, you know? See, look, that still looks better than what we have right now. We're also calculating light wrong. Like, fundamentally, the way we're doing our lighting is fake. It's not correct. So any lighting techniques I add, they aren't correct. So honestly, we might just look up... We're just going to do this the way the OpenGL spec suggests, at least in terms of basic... What is it? Yeah, we're at the basic lighting point in terms of our engine capabilities. And the way, like, look, here's the difference here. Yeah, there. The aircraft shader, the way our lighting works, and this is what lets me have some, like, finer control. I did it initially because it was a way that I could control everything. The way our albedo, well, our albedo is, like, fine. We get an alpha. We get our view direction or our reflect direction. This is all well and good. The problem is when we actually get to our, the way we do colors. We mix our non-emissive color with our albedo based on, let's see, spec. Yeah, well, this is the problem. The non-emissive texture here is our shadow color. We're lerping between our shadow color and our actual color. And that's wrong. It's very wrong. And, you know, you could argue that it's fine. It doesn't really matter. But at the same time, it kind of does, I think. At least a little bit. Now, one thing we could do... Actually, maybe this lets us do tune shading a little better. So, let's see. Now, the issue is also, we should just be doing this with diffuse. Because our alpha... It should let us, let's see. Yeah, that looks all right. That's good for like flat shading. And then the alpha should fundamentally be like, what's the term? Yeah, you should multiply it by our lighting color. Frag color, albedo, non-emissive. The problem is we're just mixing too many things. And we're mixing our non-emissive. What was our albedo again? Our albedo is just our albedo texture. So this is how we figure whether we're using emission or not. So we do want to just do it here. And we could, I think, just say spec. It's probably not the best way to do things. Whoops. Yeah. What is it? Plus vec3 spec. This would be technically a better way to do it. It'll give us that really big specular shine, I think. Not quite what I would like. Yeah, and it's also because I believe we're using a specular texture. This will just strengthen everything a little bit. Or not. Maybe it's just not doing what I want it to do. That's also possible. It has a history of happening. Yeah, so if we have white for our roughness, so maximum roughness, that's minimal spec. It's technically not correct. This should be roughness. Like, I'm conflating roughness and specular. Those are different things. But for my purposes, I'm not worrying about it. We mix between these two, and then we're just adding whatever our specular value is. What was the other thing? Well, anyway, the idea I had was we could get cell shading pretty easily with this technique, I think. What we could do is we could say, because we're using a mix function, a lerp. So if we were to say float cell cell diffuse should be equal to, let's see, our diffuse goes from 0 to 1, and what we want to do is step incrementally instead of yeah, we want to just step incrementally. So the way we would do that is we would say diffuse times 10, and then we would say min, whatever our diffuse times 10 is, and then we would divide it by 10. And I think, well, sorry, floor. And then this should give us some sort of cell lighting effect on our aircraft. Oh, you can kind of see it. It's not exactly what I was hoping, but yeah, that's what I was thinking right there. It's not cell shading, but the thing is we can control how many bands or so we have with this multiply factor. Yeah, see? Actually, that's not far off. That's really not far off. That's interesting. I actually kind of like how that looks. Let's see. And it also is literally the number of bands. So hashtag define num cell bands. And we'll say 3. Let's just say 3 for now. 0.0. Has to be a float. Yeah. Cell shading, everybody. It's actually not far off at all. I kind of one-shotted cell shading. Sort of. Not perfectly, of course, but good enough for government work, I'd say. That's actually not bad. I'm damn proud of that. And then the other thing we could do is we could have our texture be formatted a little better. Also, this should probably be. Anytime you're just saying num, that just implies it's an integer. Okay. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Windows, for that interruption of today's broadcast. That's really cool. I wonder if we crank it down to like 2. Would that look even better or worse? It looks kind of like a comic book. And then our shadow color, we can tweak that a little bit. Let's see, shadow color. Why is our shadow? Oh, that's because that's for our trail. I'd be happy to. I think I did shoot an application out. I don't know if I've heard back from them. I've gotten denied by a good amount. We'll see. We'll see what happens, you know. But yeah, I would love to get a Lockheed internship. You know, that's like saying I would love to go to Stanford, you know. I would love to go to Stanford, but well, you know, we'll see. Yeah, that actually doesn't look bad. I think we have cell shading on the aircraft, and it looks kind of neat, actually. Okay, what do you guys think? Do you think cell shading or non-cell shading looks better? Like, what looked better? And that's not bad. Probably should make it a little bit less intense now that we have cell shading. Let's see. I like the cell shading. I like the cell shading too. That looks good. That looks really good. Yeah, we'll take it. We'll take it. Yes to cell shading. And that means we can remove all of the specular calculations. We don't even need a specular map now. It looks kind of stylized, you know? Plus specular. We don't even need that. And honestly, we can re-implement specular later. But we don't need it anymore. Let's see. Is that spec? Yeah, there's no specular being used anymore. Roughness texture isn't being used for anything. We just reduced our texture usage by quite a lot, which is pretty cool, I think. The other thing we need to do is we do need to delete the unused textures. So let's see, shading, emission, ambient occlusion. We definitely need to delete this. This is, Blender has such a strange way of doing things. Images, ambient occlusion, delete. Okay. And then roughness, delete. And this is demo jet. Why is it? Oh no. Oh no, this is demo jet. Why is it completely? Is everything using? Oh no. No. I made the big mistake. Oh no. Oh shoot. Oh no. No, no, no. Everything is now. Oh my. This is bad. This is bad. This is very bad. Please, please, please. Oh, okay. Make it more cromulent. Where have I heard that term before? Can you cite your source for that word? I feel like I've heard that somewhere, like as a joke a long time ago. If you're being serious, I'm sorry. I didn't. I did not mean anything bad by that, but I feel like I've heard the term cromulent before, like in a kind of a joking manner. Now I have to retexture the whole aircraft. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe that this is what things have come to. I mean, at least we have all of our materials set up, and I have a texture that could tell me where everything goes, but like that ticks me off a little bit. Visor here. This is where we put our secondary colors. Let's see. I think I might like to. I'll definitely have to tweak how it all works, the shader. But for a first, my crappy lighting calculations made cell shading extremely easy to implement. That's pretty nice. I think it comes from Futurama. Ah, that's what it is. Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah, it was a joking term. I would not be surprised if it was something from Futurama, Family Guy, Futurama, all those great shows. Really, the only one I can say I watch consistently is Family Guy and The Simpsons. Though I appreciate the genre. Gosh darn it. See, this is why I hate the art pipeline. Like, artists, you guys are crazy. The fact that you sit down and, like, I can't wait to... Like, 3D modeling's fun. Texturing can be cool once you, like, get in the zone and you have a pipeline set up. But until you have that, you're just sitting here doing stuff like this in Blender. And I love Blender. I think Blender's... Honestly, if I had to make a list of, like, the top open source software of all time, Blender probably is in the conversation for number one. Just because, like, name another software that managed to somehow compete with industry giants and has gone from, like, kind of a niche tool that game devs use to something that is capable of making full scale movies. I mean, it's pretty awesome. The Blender source code is also kind of scary to look at. Not saying it's written poorly, but it is intimidating. At least for me. And that could be saying absolutely nothing. I could be dossing my lack of skill. But at the same time, Blender source code, I find it quite intimidating. And then tertiary was the engine, and then we also put tertiary in here. No, we didn't. We didn't put tertiary. Oh, did we put tertiary? Yeah, we did. I used that to give the illusion. I'm an artist, but I didn't really 3D model much. Yeah, 3D modeling is about the fullest. Oh, well, no, I had like a drawing pad when I was like really young, when I first got into making like games, and that was a lot of fun. That was actually the only time I enjoyed it. But the problem is I don't like making 2D games. So the drawing pad quickly was not used enough, which I feel bad about because it really was an awesome tool. Afterburner, and then I think we're almost at the point where we should be good. What a frustrating trail. Okay. I believe this is the final result. Yeah. Okay. What on earth? And then what can we do with the, let's see, cell dithering. Because it has a lot. Yeah, pixel art. Because I did like the hand-drawn stuff. I love Castle Crashers. Like that's one of my favorite just like art styles, and also it's such a fun game. I loved Castle Crashers. The art of dithering and retro shaders for the web. This probably is like referring to websites. Oh, yeah, it is. Ugh, JavaScript. Real-time dither shader. Let's see. There's got to be, let's cell shading. There's something we're kind of missing with our cell shading. It's too bare bones, you know? No, not really. That's actually kind of exactly. I wonder if we did one band. Would one band be completely unacceptable? No. No, it's not. Well, it's not unacceptable, but I think 2 is better. It gives a better 3, maybe? What happens if we do like a fraction or something? It's not bad. But I think 2 is... Let's try 2.5. Let's see what happens. Because casting a float to a float, or a double to a float, shouldn't do anything. Yeah, it just gets clamped down to 2. That's not a big deal. It probably gets implicitly cast to it. Nope, there's no implicit casting in GLSL, I don't believe, actually. So that's not what's happening. But yeah, cell shading. That's pretty cool. Afterburner works. You know what? And the next thing, what something else to do? Water. So water right now has literally nothing. Like it's just an empty void. Of course, we have to get over to it, which is fine. Also, I probably should get these trailing decimals on the UI to go away. You can't see them because my picture is covering it, but they trail to like 5 to 6 decimal places. It's a bit too much information. I also don't have their units, so it's not like meters per second or anything, which I definitely should add. And what else? Did I just get a phone call? Whatever. Finish that. Okay. Yeah. So the water is nothing. The water is... It's nothing. So what I think I'm going to do is I think we'll have a water normal map. Seamless... Let's see. Seamless water normal map. Yeah, that's what we could use. We could use some sort of seamless water normal map texture. We'll say generator. There's a lot of like noise generators online. Normal map online. Give me water. What about... No, I need water effect normal map filter forge. View seamless tiling. It does appear to be seamless. Can we download? Download filter. No. I'm actually, I feel like I should open these off screen in case they're not good or something. Like, it's risky being on the internet in real time. You can buy water textures, apparently. That's new. We could just use cell shading. Let's just get a noise texture generator. We'll just generate like a... I do know a reliable noise texture generator. Is this one. Yeah, we'll just use like Voronoi. Perlin's not good. No, random's not. Yeah, we'll use Voronoi. Is it seamless? Yeah, it's seamless. We'll do that. 256. Okay, download PNG. There we go. So we will use this here. Rename water noise.png. All right, and then the water should also have a texture now. Texture, noise, texture. And then on load resources, we will say noise texture equals loader, no, loader, load texture from file, water noise.png. Oh, wait, what was it? Resources slash textures slash water noise.png. And then what we need to do, we need to graphics backend, what was it? Upload, what was it? Texture, use texture slot. Oh yeah, we now support 3D textures. That's cool. We'll use texture slot 0. Well, we'll use noise texture, and then we'll just bind that to texture slot 0, and then graph backend upload shader uniform int shader 0 u water noise. And then when we unload, are we deleting anything? Gosh darn it. Delete, graphics backend, delete mesh. We don't need to worry about the shader. And then graphics backend, delete texture, noise texture. And then if we compile that, that should work. And then we'll have to edit our actual water shader. What do we call it? Uniform sampler u water noise texture would be a better, we didn't call it that. I can rename it, but that's just a better name for it. I'll build that again. And then let me make this a little bigger. Okay, u water noise. Oh gosh, I forgot. Normal maps, so normals are funny because, oh shoot, the water thing is one giant quad. So we are gonna have to shrink the normals by a lot in the UV. P vec2 P UV, out vec2 P UV, and then we'll say P UV equals A UV. Yeah, we have access to that. Let's see, P normal vec3 move, sorry, let's say tilted normal equals P normal. For now, it'll just be this. Just gotta make sure I didn't break any of our imports. Let's see if the water shader loads. It looks like it's loading. Yeah, no errors, we're good. And let me think. So a normal map is just an offset. Actually, so this is a noise texture. It's not really a normal map at all. Can we export it as a normal map? Ooh. Is that an option? X, Y, what is that? Value type, value, normal X, normal Y. What? This is an interesting tool, but let's see. Normal map generator. Normal map online. Normal map online generator. This seems like the same tool from the other one. Oh, we can get a normal map. Gosh darn it, this looks sketchy as heck. But I'm starting to understand how this works. I'll download this noise texture. Ah, there we go. Okay. This will be our water noise.png. It will be water normal. It's not noise. backend water, water noise. Normal. And then in our actual shader, it's up here. Water. There we go. There we go. And then we could, because this is just a normal map, I don't think we could just use it, actually, now that I think about it. Red, green, blue, RGB, values are the normal at that point. Yeah, we could just say texture, U water normal texture, P UV, and then this is the thing, we have to like downscale it by a huge amount. I think there is a way we can actually, I think we have an extract scale method, if I remember correctly, in here. No. There's a formula to extract the scale. We can probably do that later, but for now, we're just gonna really hugely scale down the normals. Did that break anything? Ah, it did break things. Cannot implicitly cast from vec. Oh yeah, dot RGB. There we go. Fun. Loaded just fine, but it broke everything. Trying to, oof. Maybe this will fix it. Is it that we're trying to like, are we successfully loading the wire? Attempting to read texture file at. Are we doing that? What the? What is going on here? PUV, maybe. I wonder what's going on. I wonder. Upload shader. Are we doing things backwards? I don't think we are, because when we upload a texture in other things, what was it? Texture. Use texture slot. Upload. Whoa, wait. Oh, it is backwards. I don't think that would cause our crash, but at the same time, it might. Yeah, it's still crashing. What the? Is it simply doing things with the... Like, if we don't even use the tilted normal, is it the shader that's causing this? It is. It's the fact that we're doing... It could be that these aren't normalized. Normalize. Maybe that's it. That wouldn't make sense. Yeah. There's something wrong with the UVs. There's something wrong with the UVs. Water normal texture. Honestly, this might be something... I'm running out of time to stream, sadly. But... I wonder what's crashing this. So it's when we actually use it. This tilted normal thing. What if we were to dot product tilted normal? That's so weird. Well, it is what it is. For now, we can do this. We're gonna comment this out and add a warning. To do. Figure out why this is breaking everything when used. There. Honestly, not a terrible stream by any stretch. Don't feel like I really got a whole lot done, but it was just nice to be able to stream again. And hey, we have, cell shading now. That's really cool. I don't know when I'll stream next. I don't know if there's going to be a real consistent schedule with this. I'd like to get, again, I'd always like to get multiplayer up and running, but it's just proving difficult, which is, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, yeah, terrain's looking decent. Collisions are good. Skybox. You know what? Here's what I'll do. I'll show you guys the build process for, I'll update this. So if you guys want to play this version of the game, like the version I was playing right now, you'll be able to now. It's in this web live thing. Let's see. So if I build this and run this on the web, does it work? Offline. Web build seems to be working great. Let me fly over here. There's some texture reading issues. Oh, I also added some like nice little noise to the terrain, so it's like kind of a zebra stripe looking. It's a little detail, but it's not terrible. Let me make sure there's no big errors in here. That's okay. Those are all just warnings. Why is the water gone? Uh-oh. Please tell me the water's not gone in this build now. Every time I fix one thing, another thing pops up. Yep, the water's gone. Okay, let me make sure that this is just the case with the web build. Is that water over there? Gosh darn it. Yeah, that's water over there. I wish I didn't have to fly all the way over. Maybe I should add like a Kerbal Space Program kind of time warp feature for debugging. No, that would break in multiplayer, but it's not a terrible idea. Hey, it is a terrible idea. Okay, so that's whatever that is. And the web build is just whatever it is. Oh, I also fixed the UI scaling issue on the web, finally. A little overdue, but it was officially done. I need to fly over there and honestly just see what the problem is. Why? Maybe there's a shader issue. There is. Water normal texture syntax error. There we go. That should tell us what the issue is. Let me just here. Oh my gosh. Inspect console. Water normal syntax error. What? Why is it water normal texture? Honestly, for now, we're just going to get rid of all of it. And then that also means in the gameplay, I need to get rid of it because that's going to cause cache misses. And that is probably the single biggest performance destroyer in this game. We will keep the texture loaded, because I will have to figure this out at some point. We'll also build the new web version. Desktop's done. Run the desktop. Make sure everything runs here. Yeah, there's the water over there. And then the web build is done. Does this work? Yeah, there's water right there. Perfect. That's a win. That works. And then now I will simply update this for everyone. So the web build here, wasm data copy, delete the current web build, paste it in here, and then manually cd web live git add star git push commit -m cell shading git push -u origin. And now it should be at the end of like 5 minutes live. So if any of y'all want to play what I was playing today, it's live. The link is in the description of this video. Highly encourage you play it. Also follow me on X because that's where I post kind of like day-to-day updates on things. Again, there hasn't been a whole lot in the past 2 weeks. It's been a busy 2 weeks. But yeah, it's kind of the end of the stream for today. Sorry, it was a little bit more of a slow one. I'm still kind of trying to get back into the swing of things, but